Well, it's that time, folks. It's that time. And if you ain't been paying attention to what's going on over there with Foodie Kenobi, then you missed out on a lot. You know why? Because she is making some of the most reckless decisions I have have ever seen, folks. And she crashing out. She doing a bunch of nonsense that should not be done. But should we expect anything less from the glorious one herself, Foodie Kenobi? Absolutely not. You know why? Because I was watching a live stream this week, a couple of days ago, and she came on, and I could just watch what her body language and everything. It was bad, folks. I was like, I felt sorry for her through the computer. I was like, look, I was like, whoa. Aren't you listening to what you saying? Like, she not hearing and listening to her own words. She's speaking. She recording it. She made a video. She made a live stream. And everybody else is, how can I say, reacting to it. And we all talking about it. But she the only person that's not hearing what's going on. It was so bad that she was saying, how can I say, she going to go back to Syria. And she going to have no access to getting her money. 0%. 0% chance. Am I saying this correctly? She's going to have 0% chance to get access to her money. So she's going to be in a whole nother country. She's going to go there with whatever money that she says she bringing. I don't know how much she's bringing. And that's another thing. You should not be on the internet right here telling your audience and people, strangers, that you go into this country. You don't know who lived there. And you saying you go in there with tons of cash. And that's what you're going to have the whole entire time you're there. And she says she's going to be there for 3 months or 6 months. You know how she's going to visa hop back and forth and makes excuses. But she's saying she going with stacks of money and dollar bills and all this type of stuff. You should not go on the internet and do this. But who am I to judge? You want to go on and air your dirty laundry and tell people all your finances on the internet and let them document it? Go right ahead. But then she said, after this whole thing, that she going to have no access. Like I said, she cannot get anywhere to get some more money. Like if she ran out of money, or maybe her money flew out in a bag and she driving down the street and her bag flew in, or her money flew into the wherever the woods there somewhere, and she had nothing, they can't even go to ATM machine. They can't even go, she said, to the airport. They can't even go to an airport, to the ATM, to try to get some cash. They got to leave the country. And she said, what did she say? She got to fly into Dubai to get some cash from the ATM. So you got to spend like $300-$500. I don't know how much it is to get there. Then take whatever you need, like $1,000 out the ATM, and then another 500 back. It doesn't even make sense. But this story only gets worse, because she says now she's going to be 100% reliable on relied on Captain Keyboard, the man that stands next to her that they think they married. I can't. This too much. She's gonna rely on this guy that she says has millions of billions of dollars, but he's not paying for her flight. He's not paying for a second flight. He's not paying for nothing. This is the best thing I have heard the whole week, but it's the saddest thing. You know why? Because in this condition that she's putting herself in, the worst things can possibly happen. If you're gonna just rely on one single individual in an entire another country that you have no clue where you at, and then you can't even get to a hospital, just think about how bad that is. But I want you to hear from herself. I want you to sit back, because I'm just, how can I say, saying what I said, right, that she said, and that's not what I want you to hear. I want you to hear it because maybe I was wrong, right? But maybe I was right. So listen right here what Foodie Kenobi had to say, and I want you to look at her body language, her eyes, how her eyes roll back and forth, and all that type of stuff. You can see just from that condition, if you saw a stranger in the street saying this stuff, you would say this person is, how can I say, very upset. They stress. They know they put themselves in a condition that is the worst thing they could possibly do, and they just are not going to try to get out of it. So watch right here. Boom.
Well, I think that things got a little bit scarier for me because I'm probably going to have to rely on 100% on Salah to support me there while I'm there, because it's going to be hard to access money there. That's for sure. And my kick payouts probably won't work. It'll probably just accumulate in my account until I get back to a country like Canada or... So everything I earn from now until then, I'll just bring cash. It's a cash system. Yeah. But Salah said it's fine. I mean, if we don't have rent, what else do I need to worry about there? My bills in Canada, I can pay from my bank account. I don't know. I'll just have to try to bring as much cash as I can. I was mostly reliant on him last time too. Because in Syria, you can't just go to an ATM, they don't have any. And you can't just go to an embassy, they don't have any. And you can't just use your credit card, they don't have any. Yeah, it does make me nervous. It makes me nervous, but at the same time, I know that Salah will take care of me. The cats will be taken care of. I'll probably travel with Salah, like while Salah and I maybe go to Jordan. But I also want to go to like maybe some other like another country, like on a solo trip at some point.
Yes, folks, you see right there, if this person was anybody you saw just sitting on a park bench right there, they was by themselves, they just got off the phone, you would probably say, wow, that person is going to be in a bad condition. Even if you didn't know, you probably would just mind your business. But in this situation, this is a public platform. She's airing it all over, and there's thousands of people, or at least 100 people on her site watching, right? And it's very uncomfortable to watch. And the best part was the part that she said that she's going to rely on Captain Keyboard is the best thing I have ever heard. But folks, I don't know. If you think that she's in a terrible condition, leave it in the comments. Say, I think Foodie Wan Kenobi should not be going there. She should find someplace else to be safe. And she should not be going there with 10,000 stacks of cash and running around paying in cash and all this stuff. And the saddest part of this, I was thinking back. She said during the week that she's going to be, how can I say, she's going to be living like, I think she's a 1 hour or an hour and a half away from where her Captain Keyboard guy is going to come visit her. So think about it. In an emergency, she's in a house with a rooster. Wherever she at, she have no clue the block, the lot. She have no idea, right? How about if she was going to the bathroom, she slip on a little bit of water, boom, she busts her stuff and she fall on the ground. She can't get up, right? She trying to get to her phone, but it wasn't there. She can't crawl nowhere. And you got some husband guy that's gonna come maybe a few times a week. This looks like a bad condition that you've seen in a bad movie, a scary movie, right? This is the type of stuff that she's putting herself in. And I feel sad because I would never want to leave somebody in the middle of nowhere, right? With no condition but a phone. Maybe if she have a signal and she can crawl to the phone to get help, maybe he would drive the 2 hours to come get her or something. The saddest part, maybe, that's what we getting. Maybe somebody may come help in the middle of nowhere. Nobody know what's going on. She can't even probably go outside. Think about it. She's on the ground inside. She can't get outside, right? And even if she did, maybe people don't know her language, right? And she's now stuck there laying outside hoping somebody help her. That's the saddest part. But think about it. She putting herself in this bad condition. You know why? Because she chooses to. There's no reason to have to go all the way back to Syria. Absolutely not. She can't even use that she's saving on taxes because in another live stream, she says she had to continue to pay taxes. She owes a whole bunch of money still, and she gonna do that, right? She can't go to Syria and just dodge out on taxes. Do I know that's the truth? No idea. You know why? Because I don't know what she's saying is the truth or not. Because she lies so much, we don't know what's real or not in reality at this point, right? Is truth not flip of the coin? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. It's the saddest thing to have to deal with. There's one thing you should always have where people believe you. You come on here and you say something, your audience should believe you. Not question every single thing you say and then you lie to them 50,000 times. That's where she's at, and that's bad part. So you know what we're going to do now, folks? We're going to move on to another thing that happened during these live streams. She was out there doing her beezing. She was speeding and scootering and all around and doing whatever it is. She was drifting all over the place, and she was going to, how can I say, her spot. She was going to under the bridge. You know, she's like, that's what she called it, under the bridge. So I kept watching, right? I know she's going here and she's going to just sit there and say silly nonsense for the next 15 hours and then I just leave. I don't pay no attention. But she was speeding down there slowly. And then she started saying that she saw somebody laying under the bridge right there. There was a person from a distance that she saw sleeping under the bridge. So she got upset. She was cursing. She was saying vulgarities and all this type of stuff during that live stream because this person was under there sleeping, right? And she didn't care because she believes that that spot is her. That this person that was under there, they should get out of there. That's Foodie Wan Kenobi spot. Can you imagine somebody's over there sleeping? I don't know why they're sleeping. She didn't get close enough for us to see. Maybe the person was just hanging out like she does and sleeping there. I have no clue. But she got very angry. Can you imagine getting angry that somebody else is in your location, some remote place, and you think it's your spot? You can see the entitlement she believes. She believes in an entire area under the world, under a bridge is her location. She owns it. No other individual should be there. And that's the saddest part. I want you to watch right here. Look at this. Boom.
Is that somebody on the bridge? Is that someone sleeping there? It's somebody sleeping, is it? Yeah, it is. It's somebody. Oh, they're in our spot. I'm pissed off. It's my bridge.
Yes, folks, you see right there, she sped around and she started speeding and she saying mean stuff to this person. What is this? She has nothing else, man. That's the saddest part. She on here like 8 or 9 years. She haven't learned nothing. It's the saddest thing. It's like if you had if you had the test answers and you read them a million times and then you still failed the test, that's her. She has not improved. She has not made her content any better. I cannot say at all that any of the stuff that she has done in the past 3 or 4 years is in any improvement from what she did in the past. She used to do little skits in the past. She did them time warp stuff. It's something interesting. Now laying sideways on the couch 24/7 for 4 years is definitely not something that gets my heart beating like, whoa, what's going on? Nope, that's not what happened. You know what I get? Boom, I click the monitor off, turn the sound off, and I come back another time because it's just so boring. So you know what we're going to do now, folks? We're going to move on to the last part of this exciting video. You know why? Because Foodie Wan Kenobi's having a beef once again. You know why? She's going against, how can I say, Captain Keyboard's best friend back from Kuwait. He came out and did an interview with a channel over there, I think Falafel Reacts over there, and she was exposing what was going on. And Foodie was angry, folks. She was angry. I can't even say. She was so angry. You could have turned the redness up on the screen because she was how can I say, she was really, really mad, right? Because I was hearing that she was not supposed to be over there when she got to Kuwait living with Captain Keyboard, right? So they had to dip out on that first the first apartment is packed everything. They fled. They just fled and they escaped, right? I guess they were not supposed to be there. So that was what was being said. And then they got to the second one, and you know how that turned out. They ended up in the third apartment or the 50th apartment, and it went on and on because they had that 100%, 0% marriage that was totally valid. They were just moving on because they were just bored of, you know, the environments. They were like, you know, I need to move up. I need to change my apartment every 2 days or whatever it is like that. I want you to think about this carefully. They started out in Kuwait. They fled all these apartments. They ran away. They got apartment to apartment to apartment. And then at one point, they actually had to leave the country. That there's a problem there, Foodie Wan Kenobi. There is nobody else that ends up in a country, 25 apartments, and then has to fly out of the country just to get away. Like you was doing something wrong if you have to flee countries, on and on and on. So Foodie Wan Kenobi saw this interview was going on. She was getting angry. And you know what she did? She said that she was going to get a lawyer, folks. I want you to think about it. She says she's going to get a lawyer in Kuwait. So she have no money. She asking people to pay for a second seat or whatever it is on the plane to get to Syria. She have no money for this icy machine that she wanted, right? She have no money for a bunch of other stuff, but she's going to get a lawyer in Kuwait, in a country she's not in. Captain Keyboard is no longer there, and she gonna go after this guy. Who are you thinking you lying to? But, you know, go right ahead. You know, makes the community fun, and we got something to talk about. But if you're gonna talk stuff, at least talk something that somebody gonna believe. Nobody hiring no Kuwaiti lawyer, right? They don't live there, and they're gonna go after somebody over there, and you can't even get in the country or go back there to even defend yourself. It makes no sense. But I want you to listen right here. She said she was contacting Captain Keyboard and he's going to get the lawyer. Listen right here. Boom.
Contact a lawyer in Kuwait. Okay, anyways.
Yes, folks, you heard it right there. They're going to get the best lawyer in the world that they can get. And I don't know how the person is going to get paid, but they're going to get it and they're going to go after this person. Is this going to happen? Nope. You know why? Because I don't believe nothing they both saying and nothing's going to happen. Well, that's the end of the video, folks. And I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. Later.